Okay. I am with the Imam from Smithfield.
Yes.
Okay. And he's graciously given me this time to ask him some questions and things that are on my heart to be able to see what his response is to them. Would you mind me asking you how old you are?
I'm 30.
Oh, 30. That was what the last Imam that I had a meeting with was. He was 32.
My assistant?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Now, are there higher levels of Imams?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Depends on seniority, depends on education, depends on experience. All these things, are factored into the level and degree.
Okay, so the one I was speaking with, he made it a point to say he was an imam in training.
He's my assistant.
Okay,
Yes.
that's how he said it.
Yeah, he's a deputy imam. You make say.
Correct. Okay, and some of the questions I'm going to ask him, I'm going to ask you.
Absolutely.
And I thought that it was kind of funny after I left here, how he felt. I got the impression that he felt like he did not have the liberty to answer some of these questions out of fear that if in fact he answered them and they weren't correct, that he would creating sin between him and God. And that's one thing that I got the impression. Number one, without misrepresenting you or anything, is that fair to say that what I received from him is accurate? Because I'm sure he came back to you and said to you, well, he was asking me some questions and I told him whatever.
Absolutely.
Okay, so is it fair to say that that's how it came across? I don't want to misrepresent.
What I would say is that it's only right to answer those questions that you know the answer of. If you don't know the answer,
Sure.
you say ask somebody else.
Okay.
That's
Okay,
it.
so
I'm the one
Okay.
to answer the questions.
Okay.
I'm the one who's a scholar here. I'm the one who's a resident imam here. I'm the one who's a senior here.
Okay.
So it is only appropriate of him to refer anyone who's asking a question
Okay.
that he doesn't have the answer for
Okay.
to send it to me.
Okay, so therefore, let me get into it a little bit then.
Yeah.
So one of the questions I asked him was I pointed to the Quran.
Yeah.
And I pointed to chapter 4 in Surah 4 in verse 157, I think that states that Jesus Christ, or doesn't use the word Christ.
Can you repeat
Surah 4, verse 157.
Chapter 4,
Yeah, verse 157.
157.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it?
Okay, can you read that?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
وقولهم إنا قتلنا المسيح عيسى ابن مريم رسول الله وما قتلوه وما صلبوه ولكن شبه لهم وإن الذين اختلفوا فيه لفي شك منه ما لهم به من علم إلا اتباع الظن وما قتلوه يقينا.
Okay, so now translated in English, does that say that
Yeah.
Jesus was not on a cross?
Yes, that's exactly what it says.
It says
those people who believe that they killed Jesus and they crucified Jesus. It says they did not kill him and they did not crucify him, but it was made to appear to them that they did. That's what it says.
Was he up on a cross?
No,
Okay.
he never went on the cross.
Okay, so he never went on a cross.
No.
Okay, that's okay. So that's okay. So we've got that. That's no mystery. If I was to say
That's-
to
That's
somebody,
the Islamic theological position.
okay, and that is a position that is upheld by every Muslim.
Upheld, you mean?
Upheld. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Upheld by every Muslim.
Yes.
Now, one of the interesting things I had mentioned to him, and I had asked him, that was and is there, like in every religion, there usually is a moderate, a liberal, a conservative, a liberal all the way to the right, middle is a moderate, okay, and then we have the extremists, okay, which is kind of like 4 sections, okay. What is it that is in? Now we do know that Islam is branched off in Sunnis and Shiites and probably some others that are underneath those. Is that correct?
Not necessarily.
Just Sunnis and Shiites?
Sunnis are the mainstream of Islam, and Shiites are maybe a branch of it.
Sunnis are the mainstream,
Yeah,
and the Shiites.
90% of the Muslims of the world are Sunnis. So out of 1.8 billion, you can do the math. You
Yeah,
know.
I gotcha. Okay. Now, so do we have in the Shiites, do we have in the Sunnis those four categories of
regarding this issue?
not
Regarding
not an issue.
regarding the issue, are we specifically talking about the crucifixion of Jesus?
No.
Okay.
No.
In general.
I'm talking about the moderate, liberal, conservative extremists. Those are classes of belief systems. Okay, in everything, usually you have these. For instance, the people that are looking at people right now that are beheading people, extremists, what have you, terrorists. Okay, we're calling that extremists.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are calling them deviants.
Deviants.
Yeah.
They're not even looked
They're
on
not
as
even
Muslims.
on the path.
That's right.
So deviants.
Right.
Yeah.
Were they ever Muslims?
We don't know. I don't know their past. If they were ever Muslims, I don't know about their history. I don't know about their past. We can only pass a comment about what we see now. If I don't know any of those people. First of all, to begin with, I don't know any of those people. I don't know who they were last year. I don't know who they were 10 years ago. I don't know who they were 50 years ago. I don't know who they were 2 months ago. I can only say what I see today. Even that is what I see. In the news media, in newspaper or on internet or whatever I see. Based on that, I can whatever is being presented to me. And the other thing is, I don't have my own eyes on the ground. Okay, I don't know. I don't see with my own eyes what's going on over there. So I can only base my opinion on what is being presented to me. So whatever is being presented to me about these people, that this is what they're doing, that's what they're doing, my opinion and the opinion of all the Muslim scholars is that these are deviant people. These are people who are not even on the path of the Islam, on the path that Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You understand what I'm saying, right? Because we can't say something about something that we don't know. Like, you drove here. I don't know where you're coming from. I don't know whether you were in Providence or Smithfield or Attleboro or Mansfield. I have no idea. So if I were to say, oh, you're coming from Mansfield, and you did not, I would be, basing my statement on something that I have no knowledge of.
So, with that said, it almost sounds like that you can only go on what you have,
of course,
today.
It's common sense.
But we don't have Muhammad today.
Yeah.
He doesn't live.
But his words are here.
But we have words of others that have followed others. So, contrary to what
it depends on authenticity. How you
authenticity.
Yes. How
authenticity.
Verification,
okay.
authenticity.
Okay.
That's why the statements that we have of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, are well verified, well recorded, well authenticated. The verses of Quran that we have are well verified, well recorded, well authenticated. There is no doubt about it. So that's why we believe it as if we were seeing it with our own eyes.
Well, in all respect, you've come up with that understanding.
Every Muslim has.
Correct.
Yes.
I would agree that every Muslim has.
Yes.
Okay. But that doesn't mean that it is empirical. Because you have believed on down the line, because you've been taught that the evidence necessarily, for instance, years ago we said that the earth was flat.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Come to find out, okay?
Yeah.
It is what?
It's round. It's round.
Okay?
Yeah.
So for many years they believed this.
Well, because they did not have the knowledge.
Well,
so if let me we're not here debating.
Sure.
So let's say tomorrow you bring me the solid evidence that Prophet Muhammad never existed, or this is not right. You bring me such a solid evidence that convinces me, completely. Then I
understand.
Yeah.
What would be? And again, you're right. We're not. And my thing was not to come to debate. I just want to get some information.
Yes.
But let me ask you this: what would happen if you saw that verse 4, verse 157?
If I did what?
If you understood that 157 was incorrect, that Jesus did die on a cross, what would that do?
I wouldn't understand that.
Why?
I would.
Okay, but no, but I didn't
Yes.
say.
Yeah.
My question is,
Yeah.
if you, in your consciousness,
Yeah.
came to that conclusion, what would that do?
That if is not there.
Say that again.
That if is not there, that would never happen in my belief, in my conscience.
So therefore, it's
Yeah.
already
It's so
acceptable
solid.
not to accept
Yes.
it.
It's so solid in my
Understanding.
belief, in my mind, in my conscience, that every word that's written here is more true than my own existence.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I could disbelieve in my own existence, but my belief in Quran is stronger than my belief in my own existence. That's how. So you can. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Yeah, my point is that
It
it
trumps.
will never shake. It will
Yes,
never shake
yeah.
my
It
belief.
trumps. You're not allowed to think outside of that.
It's not about what's allowed. I'm so convinced,
Yeah.
and I'm so satisfied.
What are the convincing factors?
Because
Let me ask
yeah.
you this:
Yeah.
the Quran was written in the 7th century.
And when did it come down?
In the 7th century.
Okay.
That's when it came down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
600s, what have you.
Yeah.
Okay. Given to Muhammad by the angel Gabriel.
Yes.
Correct, right?
Yes.
Now,
Do you know how was it given to Prophet Muhammad?
well, he was illiterate.
How
So he had to basically have that translated to him.
You got your information incorrect.
That's okay. So
Yeah,
go ahead and
yeah.
tell me.
So
So he did not get it from Gabriel?
he did,
Okay,
but
he
not
did get it from-
translated. Why?
Okay, maybe
why
that's the
would he-
wrong. Okay, no, go ahead.
Yeah.
Correct. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So not translated, but what would you say?
He received the revelation in his own language, in his native language, which
From-
was Arabic, from Angel Gabriel. And whenever Angel Gabriel would communicate to Prophet Muhammad,
How
he
did he
would
write it?
communicate in Arabic.
How did he write it?
Who?
How did it get written in the Quran?
Who?
Who wrote the Quran?
It's the scribes of revelation.
Muhammad was illiterate. He got the revelation, is what you're saying, from Gabriel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How then did the revelation get put into the Bible?
Let
into
me
the,
first,
sorry,
let me
I'm sorry,
first.
the Quran.
Your preface to this is that Muhammad was illiterate.
Yeah, he was. We know that.
No, that's incorrect.
Oh, he could write.
Yes, he could write.
Read and
he
write?
could read. Yes.
So that's so
So
that.
you have to correct that.
So
first,
so
yeah.
you're saying that he could read and
Yes,
could write.
and he did write things as well.
How do we know?
He wrote his own letters. Letters like letters that he sent to the Roman emperor, the letters that he sent to Persian emperor, the letters he sent to the rulers and leaders of other nations. He wrote many of those letters with his own hands.
Okay, so I stand to be corrected there. So he.
Yes.
So, but could he read?
Yes, of course he
So
could.
you're
read.
saying he could read and write?
Yes, he could read and
Okay,
write.
so then that takes out the fact that he was illiterate. So he wasn't
Yes.
supposedly illiterate.
He was not.
Okay, not illiterate. Okay.
He was.
How then though?
Okay, let me also
Go ahead.
correct this here.
Sure.
Some people do believe that he was illiterate. That's wrong. First of all, the letter is wrong to use this to interpret, to describe that he did not how to read and write.
Let me
The
interject.
second, the proper word to use is unlettered.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go over that.
Yeah.
You're saying first of all, some people. Who are some people?
Like you,
Okay, so outsiders.
outsiders,
So
or
there's
even
no
insiders.
even insiders. So you're saying that
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
Muslims.
who are either due to lack of information, lack of knowledge, or misinformation.
So that is.
I'm a scholar. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Sure. I understand.
Yeah.
I respect it.
Yeah.
And I thank
Yeah.
you. So there are people that
Yes.
were not taught that, but they're just going to believe it because
Same-
they believe it.
Because it's lack of representation, how you represent it, or how
Or maybe
you
on their own
inform it.
end.
Yes.
Maybe on their own end.
Yeah,
The
how
ignorance.
they were informed,
Right.
or the use of bad words like illiterate. That's not a word to describe what we call in Arabic ummi. Ummi means unlettered. he did not know how to read and write before he became the prophet of God. After he became the prophet of God, it was the angel Gabriel, who came down to teach him how to read and write. So and another thing that I want to bring to your attention, the reason why, the reason why we even say that he was unlettered is because he was never taught how to read and write by any human being. That's the exception. He was never taught by any human being how to read or write, because he was the best of all human beings, and he was above all human beings. Therefore, there was no one who could receive the title of being his teacher. He is the teacher of all. Nobody is his teacher. His teacher is God. So that's why we say unlettered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me clarify this
Because in this world we learn. I have my teachers. You probably went to school. You have your teachers. Everyone has, teacher. Even those people who don't go to school, they still have teachers. They go for training to someone. They learn something from someone. That their teacher could be their father. Their teacher could be their mother. Their teacher could be their brother. Teacher could be anybody. But Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is one person who has no one to be considered as his teacher among any human beings.
Unlettered, again,
Unlettered,
to
yes.
clarify,
Yes,
means, means what now?
Unlettered means he did not learn how to read and write from any of his peers or from any human beings.
What does illiterate mean to you?
Illiterate means, someone who I would say illiterate is...
No, it's an English translation.
Yeah, I know
so,
that. Yeah. But illiterate is a word that we use to describe those people
less fortunate?
No, not less fortunate, who are maybe less civilized,
Okay.
like a Bedouin.
So that's why
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you're looking at as a what's that word? It's derogatory. It's negative.
Yeah.
Okay. But it does mean the same thing in its explanation. But it's not something we want to
But
say
I would say,
because it's not respectful.
Consult the dictionary. Yeah.
It's not
On
respectful.
exact meanings
Yeah.
of both words,
Yeah.
unlettered and
Remember,
illiterate.
you're Arabic.
Yeah. No, I'm not Arabic. I'm not Arab.
Oh, okay. You're Muslim.
Yes, I am Muslim.
But your authenticity is what?
I didn't understand your question.
An Arab can be a Muslim.
An Arab could be a Muslim, and an Arab can be a non-Muslim.
Correct.
Okay.
And so you're
I'm not an Arab, but I'm Muslim.
So then, outside of Muslim, if you weren't a Muslim, let's just for the fact of trying to get my point, if you weren't a Muslim, what would you be considered?
American.
Okay. You were born in America.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. And if you trace your roots,
Yeah.
those go back to
Those go back to Pakistan.
Pakistan.
Yeah.
So you're Pakistani.
You
Per
can
se.
say origin.
Origin
you
is
can say,
Pakistan. Yeah. Okay. All right.
But in that sense,
Yeah. It doesn't.
basically every person in America has
Has
either,
a root, yeah.
Irish
I got you.
background,
Yeah.
German
Yeah, I'm
background,
Portuguese.
Portuguese background, or Cape Verdean background.
Yep. When what is the reasoning that does the Quran give reasoning to why the world believes that Jesus was crucified and why those that believe that the Quran happens to be true has the trump card? Like, in other words, it gives you the right to understand that, so whatever the Quran says, if the Quran said that that the president's door was purple, then the president's door must be purple because the Quran said it.
Yeah.
So my question is, what gives that trump card the trump? Why is it that
Because it is the speech of God.
speech?
Speech of God.
What do you mean by that?
God spoke these words
To
Prophet Muhammad.
what about Isaiah? What about Jesus himself? Was not Jesus a prophet?
Yes, he was.
Did he not say that he was going to be up on a cross? Did he
No,
not say
he
that
did
he
not.
was going to?
He did not.
To be put into the belly of the earth for 3 days and resurrected?
No, He did not.
Okay, so
You could believe that
No, I
as a
understand.
Christian. I don't believe that. That's not true. It's made up by someone. But it's never said by Jesus.
and not
And
Isaiah
Jesus,
either.
huh?
And Isaiah,
No.
forget it.
No. Forget
Isaiah
it.
never
Yeah.
said that either.
Never said that.
Okay, so we're to discount what the Old Testament says, or we can pick and choose what we want to put in. I mean, how does that work?
What do you mean? How does that work?
Well,
We believe in the whole of Quran. Whatever is said in the Quran.
Okay.
Okay. And whatever is said in the Bible. So here's a very very
Sure.
you may say like
Confined.
very good principle that we have been given in terms of referring to the earlier scriptures like Torah or gospel or Psalms. The principle that we have been given, if there's something that that goes in accordance with the teachings of Quran, like whatever Quran said, that's also what the Bible said, or close to what Quran said, then we say yes, that's true. If there is something that's completely contradictory to what Quran said versus what the Old Testament or the New Testament said, that means it has been distorted. In that case, we are to believe in what Quran has said and to disregard what has been said in the book of Psalm or Gospel.
I'm glad you said that. You clarified some very good points
Yes.
to what I'm believing. Let me see if I can recap so I do not misrepresent what you
Okay,
said.
okay.
First of all, the Quran truly is infallible. It's perfect.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And therefore, anything that Quran says
Yeah.
is mandated upon every Muslim to believe.
Yes.
E-
True.
Okay. Obviously, without say, everything is in context.
I'm sorry.
Obviously, I'm just
Yeah.
I'm supporting the fact that
Yeah,
I also don't like to be taken out of context. Okay.
Yeah.
So everything is in context.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Everything.
Everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, with that said,
Yeah.
goes the how do you say? What am I trying to say? So now we've established the fact, and in many ways. Now I'm not a fundamental Christian. I am not.
Yeah.
I will state I am not a fundamental Christian.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's important. All right. Many fundamental Christians believe that the Bible, okay, ultimately is perfect, just the same way that you said the Quran is. I don't necessarily believe that. I don't have a problem understanding how I do understand the Bible to be perfect, because in one way I do think it is, and in another strong way I don't believe it is, okay?
Yeah.
Which henceforth is the reason why I feel the need for the Spirit of God. Now that's the next question I wanted to ask you. Are you allowed as an individual, okay, to reach out alone in your private prayer closet, okay, and receive the Spirit of God?
I don't know in what sense you're using the word Spirit of God. If you're using the word Spirit of God in the sense that your personal relationship with God, then every individual has his own relationship with God, whether he's a Muslim or non-Muslim.
Okay.
Okay, so in that sense, of course, that's one of the fundamental things in Islam, that you have your own personal relationship with God. You have direct relationship with God. You don't need to go to an imam
Okay.
to have redemption through him or forgiveness through him or something like that. You have your own direct relationship with God. So if you need help from God, you ask God yourself. So God, I'm in need of your help. I need your help. I need your guidance. I need your mercy. I need your blessing. So bless me.
What if it went again? Well, okay, and I don't know if I should ask this question first or second, but if you were, and we both had these scenarios because people have asked me, and I probably answer it the same way you do, but if you were in a remote place of the earth, world, and you didn't have the Quran, you didn't have the Bible, okay, and you recognize the oneness of God, okay, we recognize that ultimately we have the mercy of God laying down on us, okay.
Yeah.
Now, what happens if that is acts that you're doing seem to be in conjunction with contrary to the Quran or the Bible. How do you see that relationship there? How is it that
Let me ask you. Let's be practical. If someone is in a remote part of the world where he does not have access to any information, any knowledge, any book, any cleric, any scholar, any imam, any rabbi, any reverend priest, then his judge will be the God. I will not speak for him. I will not stand here and say, oh, he will go to hell, or he will go here, or he will go there. I'm not responsible for that. I have no jurisdiction over that. He is under the jurisdiction of God. God will judge. Who's the creator of that person? God. So God will judge him on the day of judgment, whether he decides to show mercy or he decides to punish him for something that he may have done. It's up to God. I'm not God, and I don't speak for God.
Yeah, I would say the same thing,
Yeah.
but
That's
I
it.
actually was going down a different path, but I won't go there anymore because
Okay.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I respect that, not a problem. So I guess
I'm a very simple and realistic person. I'm someone who lives a simple and realistic life. I don't live, the life of, let's say, monasticism, or
what's that?
where monasticism is where you abandon the world completely and you say, this world is coming between me and God. I have my family. My son is here. That's why I said, I have a time limit because I have to take him. So I have my family. I have my commitments. I have my job. I have my responsibilities. I'm just like any ordinary person. But inside, I have my own beliefs, regarding God, regarding religion, regarding history, regarding regarding what's sacred, what's not sacred, all those things. And those things are very dear to me.
No, I got you. I understand. Well, you know what? For the purposes of you were gracious enough. You gave me that amount of time.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
I appreciate it, and we'll just end it here. And thank you for at
My
least
pleasure.
answering
And
some of these questions.
we can meet another time as well. But I'm always accessible. It's just my schedule is very tight. So I'm not able to give a lot of time. But we can definitely meet again.
Let me ask you one
Yeah.
last question.
Yes.
One last question. What do you say to somebody who says and refers to parts of the Quran that has a problem with the vicious wars that took place, and then it shows or implies, and actually you see that after the war, okay, or the war is over, and then it seems to show support for going in and creating more war, when war is simply over now. But now we're creating more war. How does the Quran? How do you see that the Quran actually projects an interpretation on that? Am I? Because I've read some of the Quran and I've
Yeah.
seen some of it, and I've recognized that that's problematic. How?
You probably took something out of context. That's one thing.
Well-
I would say.
Well, I would say everything is context, but
No.
everything is context. You have to keep things in context.
Yeah,
That's my
yeah.
point. Everything is
Yeah,
context.
you have to keep everything in context. You have to read everything in the context. You have to, consider everything in the context. So if you look at the context, from, before and after.
Are there any places in there
Yeah.
that after war is over,
Yeah.
okay, that it tells you basically, I guess what I'm saying is the places that I saw,
Yeah.
and maybe the next time I'll meet, I'll bring passages and
That's
what
fine.
have you,
Yeah.
but it shows, and it gave me a feeling that there's no more war now, but now we're going to go and create more war.
Oh no, Islam actually, stands for peace. It does not stand for war. War is only there when there's a necessity. Like
Sure,
here,
that's what I'm getting
American,
at,
like
right.
American U.S. Army. We send U.S. Army. We send troops when there is a necessity, when there's a need. it would be a nonsense to send troops,
Okay.
for war.
That's, okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying that
Yeah.
any of the places that seem to indicate that
Yeah.
there's something wrong with our interpretation of the person.
Yeah, there's something wrong with the person
because
how
it
he's-
doesn't
yeah.
condone that.
No,
It's not saying to go ahead
no,
and
spread war. No,
and
no.
create more
We're-
problems with
no,
those
we're-
people. Or any
we
of that
are we are taught to spread peace and spread security and safety and eradicate all forms of mischief and all forms of evil that may exist, or
stuff. And that has been the history of Islam
yes,
always.
primarily I would say, every now and then you get corrupt rulers too.
Oh,
So
right.
yeah, so if you go into history and find some examples that this person did this, I wouldn't defend him. I would say, yeah, he became corrupt. And
Just
there
like
were
just
many-
like Christians.
Yes, and
No
there were many corrupt rulers, many corrupt, even in Ottoman Empire, there were many corrupt leaders as well. Ottoman Empire was the last empire.
But I want to suggest, or I want to ask,
Yeah.
that you're saying that the Quran does not support that. It
Does
does
not.
not
It
support
does not.
any of that.
No.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna end it here. Okay. And again, I really do thank you for the time.
I appreciate it.
It was probably a little
I
bit.
thank you for your visit.